Welcome students, welcome to the second part of the video of the salient features of Constitution of India. Since the fourth phase of lockdown is going on, by now I hope you must be bored already staying at home. But this is the only way to stay away to avoid the virus. So no matter what, we still need to maintain social distance and keep our surrounding clean, wash our hands regularly, use sanitizers frequently. That's a process, and that's how we must isolate ourselves and maintain social distance. So in the last video, I have explained the half of the features of the Constitution of India. So in this video, it will be the other half of the salient features. So first, just for today's video, parliamentary form of government. So this parliamentary form of government, it is the brainchild of the British Constitution. That means our government belong to the Constitution. The Parliament, the Union Parliament. So we have the President of India, who is the head of the country, is a constitutional head. But the real powers are with the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers. So Council of Ministers is always headed by the Prime Minister. So ministers are essentially the member of Union Parliament. They are the member of Union Parliament. They are collectively responsible for all their acts to the Lok Sabha. Remember, they are responsible to the Lok Sabha and not to the Rajya Sabha. The Lok Sabha can remove the ministry by passing a vote of no confidence. By any chance, if the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers is found to be doing any unconstitutional work, that is, which they are not supposed to do, maybe it's illegal or maybe it's not constitutional at all, at that time the Lok Sabha can pass a vote of no confidence against the ministry. Then they can be removed from their office. The other way is the Prime Minister, he has the power to dissolve the Lok Sabha by sending a letter to the President that he want to resign from the post, and the whole ministry will come down, as well as the whole house will get dissolved, and the fresh election will take place, and the new Prime Minister, who gets the majority, will come back to the power. So that's a process to remove the government of India. So as I already told you, our Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers, they belong to the Lok Sabha, and Lok Sabha is Union Parliament. So that's how the country runs. They are the one who runs the country, and they belong to the Parliament. That's why it is a parliamentary form of government. And this is a British pattern of parliamentary. It was first followed in British. It was first discovered in British. That's why it is a British pattern of parliamentary. Likewise, in every state also a parliamentary government on similar lines is at work. That means we have governor in the state. Please tell me who is the current governor of Tripura. And we have Chief Minister and his Council of Ministers. So like the same in the center, that we have the President of India as well as the Prime Minister. In the state also we have governor as the head of the state and Chief Minister as the head of the government. The real power lies with the Chief Minister. That's why it is the same with the center, that is parliamentary form of government, because the CM, Chief Minister, belongs to the Vidhan Sabha or state legislature. So it is the same with the center. That's why in the state also, in every state, we have the parliamentary government. Next is universal adult franchise. So, another feature of the Constitution is the introduction of universal adult franchise, that is adult suffrage. Professor Srinivasan wrote, without any qualification of any kind is one of the boldest steps taken by the Constituent Assembly, and is an act of faith. It is an act of faith regardless to the qualification of the citizen of the country. So that means one does not have to have any required or minimum qualification in order to cast their votes. It is fully dependent upon the faith of the citizen of the country. The only qualification that is necessary is 18 years of age. One does not need to have any educational qualification in order to cast their vote. So, this is the boldest steps taken by the Constituent Assembly. Under the Government of India Act 1935, only 14% of the total population secured franchise. 14% is very less in a democratic country. So 14% of the total population secured franchise, and women constitute just a negligible proportion of the total franchise. So as compared to men, women were in a very less number who were eligible to cast the vote in an election. So during those days, there are other qualifications one has to have in order to cast their vote. One has to have a large amount of land, or have to hold a large amount of land. One has to have minimum qualifications, etc., etc. So these are the other qualifications that used to be in India before independence, but under the new constitution, both men and women enjoy equal right to vote. Now the qualifying voting age stands from 21 to 18 years. So earlier it was 21, now it is reduced to 18 years of age. The only qualification is one has to reach 18 years of age. All men and women above the age of 18 years are eligible to vote in elections. However, it is compulsory. So in order to vote in the election, one has to enroll their name in the electoral list. Then only they are eligible to go to the voting center and cast their votes. So that's all. That is what universal adult franchise is. This system is being followed in every democratic countries. So that's why it is known as universal adult franchise. Dear students, welcome to the part 2 video of the salient features of Indian Constitution, chapter 10. The next is single citizenship. So, characteristics of the Constitution is the integration of the Indian states with the rest of India. So, it means integration of the states as a whole, which form a country or which form a nation. It is not an alliance between democracies and dynasties. However, it is the basic concept of the sovereignty of the people. So it clearly tells us it is not the agreement between the states. It's not an agreement between UP and Andhra Pradesh joining hands, not like that. However, it is the basic willingness, desire of the people in order to form a nation, so they have formed a nation. It is based on equal citizens of India. So no citizens of India are to be treated, with extra care or enjoying extra privileges or enjoying extraordinary law. So not like that. It is totally built on the basis of equal citizens of the country. A basic concept is sovereignty of the people. The people of India are sovereign. Doesn't matter which states he or she belong. All the people of all the states are equal. So all citizens enjoy a common uniform citizenship, which entitles them all to equal rights and freedoms, and equal protection of the state. Law is same for everyone, so the rights are same for everyone, freedoms are same for and equal for everyone. So this is how our constitution provides regarding single citizenship. One more I want to add here is that United States of America is not like our country. In the United States, the citizen has to obtain both the citizen of United States as a whole, citizens of United States as a whole, and the state he or she belongs to. So there is a concept of dual citizenship too. Okay, dual citizenship. So that's all for the single citizenship. Now let us go to the next, that is single integrated judiciary. Again here, unlike the United States, which provides for dual judiciary, that is one as a whole for the whole nation and the other existing in the state. So in the state they have their own judicial system. However, in India it is not like that. We have single integrated judiciary, starting from the district or session court, that is the lowest form of court that we have. Then the case goes to the High Court, then the case goes to the Supreme Court. So Supreme Court is the apex court of our country. So the subordinate courts are High Court and the district court or session court, like that. So that means in India we have a single integrated judiciary, one law, one administration of judiciary. All the judicial system is run by the Supreme Court of India. So here it says in the last line, it controls and runs the judicial administration in India. This is referred to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. So that's all about single integrated judiciary. Next is independence of judiciary. That means our judiciary is independent. It is neither controlled by the executive nor it is controlled by the legislature. So it is free to have its own administration, it is free to do its own work. No other organs of the government has the right to control or order or command the judiciary. So some examples are there how it is independent in nature. Let us see. Number one, judges are appointed by the president. Judges are appointed by the president. It's not that judges are just appointed. There is a system, there is a procedures, and the president has since he is the first citizen of the country, he is the primary executive, so he has the right to appoint a judge. That means these judges are not a member of a political party, are not a member of the executive. They are the judges. They are appointed freely by the president. But number B, it says only person with high legal qualifications and experience are appointed as judges. So as I told you already, they doesn't belong to any political party, but one has to have a high legal qualification. I mean, one has to toil very hard in order to become a judge. One has to take up law as their degree, and then one has to qualify in exams to become a judge. Then only one gets promoted to become a Supreme Court of India judge. So one has to have a high legal qualification, and experience are appointed as judges. Along with the qualification, experience is also necessary. So it's not that simple as we think, that any kind of judgment or verdicts are easy. It's not like that. So the judgment and verdicts of a judge can affect someone's life very much, not only that individuals but his entire family. So the judges has to be very careful in their verdict, in their judgment. That's why along with the high legal qualification, experience is also very much necessary. Number C, judges of the Supreme Court cannot be removed from office except through an extremely difficult process. So there is a difficult process known as impeachment. Okay, the same way the President of India is to be removed from the office. So this impeachment process is quite difficult and it is not simply achievable. It cannot be achieved simply. If one has the desire to remove the judge of the Supreme Court or any court, this impeachment process has to be successfully executed. Then only one judge can be removed. So D, it says the salaries of the judges and the staff are charged on the consolidated fund of India. Consolidated fund of India. So this consolidated fund is are not subjected to vote of the legislature. That means the legislature, the MPs or the ministers cannot interfere with the salaries of the judge. Alright, so the consolidated fund of India are that fund that are collected by the government from various sources like taxes, like income tax or GST or any other revenue received from the foreign country. So this consolidated fund of India is a very important part of the government, the financial part of our country. So these are not subjected to the vote of the legislature. This is what makes it very secure. So consolidated funds are not subjected to the vote of the legislature. That means the legislature cannot manipulate with the salaries of the judges. The Supreme Court is next. The Supreme Court is authorized to have its own establishment to maintain independence. It can authorize or it can have its own administration in order to maintain independence. Number F, all appointments of the officers and servants of the Supreme Court are made by Chief Justice or by any other judge or officer whom he may direct for the purpose. So the appointments are to be made by the Chief Justice or any other officer that has been given a power by the Chief Justice or by judge or officer, okay, that belongs to the judiciary. So government now proposes to appoint a judicial commission for further streamlining the process of recruitment of the judges. That means at this point of time the judges are recruited by the Public Service Commission. That is in Tripura we have Tripura Public Service Commission. This we have a recruitment of TJS, that is Tripura Judicial Service. Once they get promoted from this service, they can even achieve or can become a judge of a Supreme Court. So in order to recruit the judge or to hold an exam for recruitment of the judge, so the government now they are proposing to have a judicial commission, okay, which is separated from the public, like the existing one, Tripura Public Service Commission. So it can be Tripura Public Judicial Commission, okay, or Tripura Judicial Commission, all right, which can which will work in order to recruit a judge. So that will make it more independent, more precise, all right. So that's why that's all make us the Constitution has this feature, independence of the judiciary. Uh, Next point is judicial review of the power of the Supreme Court and High Courts. So judicial review, this is another very important part of the democracy. So here the constitution is the supreme law of the land. There is no law that is above the constitution of India. The Supreme Court acts as the guardian, protector and interpreter of the constitution. So guardian, protector and interpreter, that means the Supreme Court are the one who act as the guardian, okay, act as the protector and also interpreter. That means whatever the Supreme Court interprets the Constitution of India, that is what to be understood by the citizens of this country. They are the sole interpreter of the Constitution of India. It also the guardian of the fundamental rights of the people. So Supreme Court is also the same way. It is also the guardian of the fundamental rights of the people. So for this purpose, it exercises the power of judicial review. That means judicial review can be like once the law is passed, once the bill is passed and it becomes a law. That means everyone is expected to follow this law. However, if this law is not as par with the constitution, that means somehow it is interfering the basic concept of democracy, or somehow it is interfering the fundamental rights of the people, then the Supreme Court can have the judicial review, okay, check of this particular law. So this is the power of the Supreme Court or the judiciary. By it, the Supreme Court determines the constitutional validity. That means how valid is this law? Is it as par or at par with the constitution? Is it interfering with the fundamental rights of the people? Okay, is it destroying the basic nature of how a democratic country should run? So that is the constitutional validity. Any law that is made has to go with par with the Constitution of India. So it can strike down the laws of the parliaments. As I have already told you, it can strike down, it can declare it as null and void because it is not at par with the constitution or basic nature of democracy or the acts of the executive. If these are challenged before it, but it has to be challenged in the Supreme Court or High Court. It has to bring in the notice of the Supreme Court or High Court. That means any citizen can take this case before them. Suppose one fine day you read a newspaper and you found that your fundamental rights has been hampered by a new law that has been made recently. So you can take that particular case to the High Court, to the High Court and say and proceed your case. So and are found by it to be unconstitutional. And if the judges, if they found that yes, whatever you are saying is true, it is right, it is destroying the nature of the constitution, then they can declare it as unconstitutional. That is the judicial review. For the past 5 decades, the Supreme Court has been using this power and it has given several historical decisions in various constitutional cases. So you can refer to this case, Golaknath case, Kesavananda Bharti case, Minerva Mill case and several others. These are very historic judgment, maintaining the basic nature of the constitution. You can always check this in the internet, alright, if you have one. So this is all about judicial review power of the Supreme Court. Next, we have emergency provisions. Emergency provisions, this is in the part 18, article 352 to 362. Like the constitution, the Weimar Republic, Germany, that means these emergency provisions of the Constitution of India is derived from the Constitution of Germany. The Constitution of India also contains provisions for dealing with emergency. Part 18 of the Constitution describes the emergency provisions of the Constitution. So it vests in the President of India the power to deal with this. That means the President of India is given such power in order to deal with some emergency. That is why these provisions are usually referred to as emergency powers of the President. So number one, a national emergency, that is Article 352. This emergency is in terms of war or external aggression. If India is at war or some foreign nationals is coming and attacking our country, or any kind of threat, okay, suppose any country is threatening our country in order to attack, in order to destroy, then in that kind of case the President of India can declare a national emergency, okay, or from armed rebellion within India or in any part of it, not only from the external, also from the inside, our country. All right, armed rebellion. So this happens when a citizen is against the government, is against the state, okay, want to create a fear or want to destroy the basic structure of the constitution or democracy, then that time the country will be declared as national emergency. So it is up to the president. President means prime minister here. All right, it is the prime minister and his cabinet minister who will declare emergency, and on behalf of President of India, or prime minister will advise the president, then the president will declare emergency. The president is bound to receive the advice of the prime minister. So, or a place like a neighboring state like Punjab, or we have Rajasthan, Gujarat, Jammu and Kashmir. So the President of India will declare that particular state as emergency, or if necessary the President of India will declare whole states. Now we have 28 states, so 28 states will be declared emergency. It is, the power lies with the Prime Minister. Number 2, constitutional emergency in state or some states. 356. So Article 356 gives the power or tells us about the constitutional emergency in the state. Suppose if there is any failure of constitutional machinery, if there is no law and order, okay, in the state, all right, people are going mad, government is or cannot function, government is incompetent, or government does not have that strength in order to run the state. So in that kind of case, this constitutional emergency under Article 356 can be declared. Number 3, this 1, 2, this 1 and 2, this has been declared several times. Okay, we were at war. We had a war with Pakistan, 1949, 1965. Okay, 71, like that. So we had already 5 wars since independent of our country. So this has been declared 5 times and above, and this constitutional emergency in a state, this has been declared not exactly the same, but it should be declared more than 100 times. All right. Number 3, financial emergency under Article 360. This financial emergency is not yet being declared any time after the independence. Emergency resulting from a threat to financial stability of our country, of India. So we don't know what will be the consequences, what will be the outcome once this financial emergency is being declared. So we don't know yet, and as a citizen of this country, I think we should protect and work towards achieving greater economy rather than bringing down our economy, creating that kind of situations where recession takes place. Should not be like that. Next point, that is special provisions relating to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes with a view to protect the interest of people belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. So scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. The Constitution in its part 16 specifies certain special provisions. Article 330 provides reservation of seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes in Lok Sabha in proportion to their population. That is, now suppose in Tripura, okay, we have 2 seats in Lok Sabha, okay, we have 2 seats in Lok Sabha, 1 seat in Rajya Sabha. So out of these 2 seats, 1 seat is ST. Alright. So like that, we have a reservation of seats. Alright. Further, the President can nominate Lok Sabha not more than 2 members of Anglo-Indian community in case he is of the opinion that this community is not adequately represented in the House under Article 331. Anglo-Indian community, okay, are those community who stayed back, okay, who has some relations with the British, okay. So there are certain community who stays back in India. So that community belongs to Anglo-Indian community, and now this community are small, okay, so they must be represented in the parliament. They must be represented in the parliament. So if the President feels that these community are not represented well in the parliament, then the President can nominate 2 members of this Anglo-Indian community. Similar provision for reservation of seats for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes and Anglo-Indian community in the state legislature have also been incorporated under Article 331, not only in the parliament, in the state legislatures as well, in the state legislature as well. So now we have a total 60 seats in our state, okay, total 60 seats in our state. So out of this 60 seats, 20 belongs to ST, okay, 20 belongs to ST, 10 belongs to SC. So 30 other is for general. So this is the distribution of seats in our state, in our legislative assembly, state legislature. This reservation have been now extended up to the year 2020. So recently there has been a discussions in the parliament, okay. Now this reservation was supposed to be till 2020, but it has been extended, okay, for the next 10 or 15 years. All right, it has been extended. So this reservation process still works. The reservation benefits have also been extended in other backward classes, OBCs, even the OBCs, okay, OBCs. The Supreme Court has, however, ruled that in no case then more than 50% jobs should be reserved for all categories of the people entitled to the benefits of the reservation benefit. Not more than 50%, no case more than 50%, okay. Suppose in terms of recruitment, in terms of jobs, not more than 50% of the seats should be reserved. All right. not only in respect of legislative seats, in respect of jobs in the government service and admission in various universities and professional institutions. So government service, okay, there is jobs, universities, or any professional institution. Jobs and seats are reserved for the people of scheduled caste and scheduled tribes. Several commissions like National Commission for SCs, STs, minorities, OBCs, alright, Commission for Women have been monitoring the conditions of this weaker section of society. So these sections of people, either SCs, okay, SCs, STs, OBCs, okay, women, alright, these are the weaker section of society, either educationally backward or socially backward. All right. Now the National Human Rights Commission NHRC can also look into the complaints involving the violation of rights belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes. Not only the commissions for SCs or STs, but even the Human Rights Commission, okay, HRC or NHRC, National Human Rights Commission, can also look into the matter. All right, any kind of violations, all right, made against this weaker section of society, okay, can be complained in the National Human Rights Commission. Some reservation benefits have also given to people belonging to other backward classes. So now the system of reservation has been extended more 10 years, that is till the year 2020, but from 2020 it has been extended. Okay, check in the internet and tell me up to which year it has been extended. Okay, next is thank you. That's all. I hope you all are doing fine and doing great at home. Hope to see you all soon in this crisis. Okay, use your hand sanitizers when you go out, use your mask. That's how we can prevent, keep your or maintain social distance as much as possible, as far as possible. Okay, though not completely possible. All right, so thank you.